Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our United Board meeting. We're very glad to have you here, and we thank you for your presence and for the information you're going to share with us, should you desire to speak. We will start this with a call to order and establish a quorum, and I believe we have that with everyone. I would like to acknowledge the media. This meeting is being recorded for the residents to watch on our Channel 6, and it's also on Granicus and Zoom, and people can call in as well. Not call in, send an email should they have questions to meeting@vmsinc.org to have your message read during the open forum. So we will start with the approval of the agenda. Are there any revisions to the agenda? Oh, I'm so sorry. I have missed the Pledge of Allegiance, so we certainly need to do that. Please join us with Director Lee. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you for keeping me on track. Okay, so now we are to the approval of the agenda. Are there any revisions that people would like to make to the agenda, or is it acceptable as is? Okay, and how about the approval of the meeting minutes? There are 3 from June 11th, which was our regular open meeting, June 27th, which is our agenda prep meeting, where we go over items that we think would be of interest and importance to our residents. And then June 27th, 2024, the special open meeting. Are there any revisions to these minutes? Seeing none, they are passed. It's unanimous. Okay. The report of the chair. There's so much to do in this on our agenda. I'm not going to take very long in speaking to you because the items are going to be covered as we go along. I would just like to thank everybody who is attending again, and note that it's been a very busy and productive month. We're working on our budget. We are working very hard on developing a business plan for 2025, and you'll hear more about that from our treasurer as we go through this. You'll also hear more about an ad hoc committee on revenue that was formed and a mission statement created. So those are my comments. And let's see, with that, we will move to the open forum. And Paul, do you want to read the guidelines or should I?
I'm sorry?
On the open forum, I'll do it. There are 3 minutes per speaker. At this time, members only may address the board of directors regarding items not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of this board of directors. The board reserves the right to limit the total amount of time allotted for the open forum to 30 minutes. A member may speak only once during the forum. Speakers may not give their time to other people. No audio or video recordings by attendees, and no rude or threatening comments. Members can attend the meeting by joining the Zoom link or calling 1-669-900-6833 or emailing if you have questions, concerns, meeting@vmsinc.org to have your message read during the open forum. So with that, we will welcome people to come up and present their issues and concerns.
Okay, our first speaker is Ms. Cheryl Garcia.
Okay, this is my 3rd time speaking before this board. On February 5th, my sewer lateral was collapsed by a VMS subcontractor. Very little work was done because my neighbor wouldn't comply with allowing the plumbers into her unit. So I came back to this board meeting on March 12th to ask to have you guys expedite the repairs. At that time, you issued a 24-hour notice to perform, and the repairs were done in her unit shortly thereafter. no work was done in my unit to reline the sewer lines. I take that back, until the last week in March, at which time the sewer line was lined, and on April 1st, the concrete was repoured. On 5/14, didn't have any more work done because I had moisture intrusion from that same neighbor, built a planter up against the stucco in my bathroom, so I had high moisture of up to 80%. So contacted moisture intrusion to investigate. To date, nothing's happened. Came back in to another meeting on May 14th to specifically ask Saban to get the work moving. And she was very receptive, but nothing happened. And so approximately a week later, I was going to the recreation department. I saw Saban in this board room, and I kind of flagged her down. And I told her that nobody had reached out to me after I came to the board meeting. So I am making an assumption that she got on the phone immediately, because on 5/23, I got a call for moisture intrusion just to check in. And then the following day, I received a final notice from compliance that I was not doing what they wanted me to do. And I had never received a notice from compliance before that date. Okay, so then on 6/7, I had a meet and confer, and Maggie Blackwell and Pearl Lee were the board members there at that IDR. I feel I presented very compelling information with pictures. On 6/19, I got an approval for testing due to that IDR meeting, and here I am again today. No testing has been done. So now that my moisture intrusion guys have removed their air scrubbers and dehumidifiers, the concrete that was poured on April 1st has now turned gunmetal gray, and moisture is coming up through the concrete. Last Wednesday, the plumbing department came out. They scoped my newly lined sewer line and found a 5-foot mud plug in it. They cleared that, re-scoped my line all the way to the cleanout. It is not my line. It is my bad neighbor's line again, has been collapsed. So now we're back at square one. I wrote a letter to the head of the maintenance and construction department on Wednesday after the plumbers left, and they gave me a copy of their report outlining what they had found, because I watched over their shoulder as they did all the scoping and clearing the line, and told her that the plumbers believed that the line in 792A had collapsed again because of the mud plug. That's the only way mud could get into the line. And I haven't heard back from anyone yet. And so I really don't know what to do. Moisture intrusion brought First Solutions to put their dehumidifiers back in my manor on Friday. They're still dehumidifying. They were in yesterday to test. The concrete is still wet. My line is still filled with water. So I am back to going to the bathroom and showering at the clubhouse. I still don't have a shower. I haven't been able to shower in my house since the 5th of February. Intermittently could use my bathroom. Now I'm back where I first started. That's 5 months. So I am hoping that somebody is paying attention and will help me. Okay? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, and I am very sorry for these issues. And we will look at it. If you, then, so we will go to the next speaker.
Karen, before you leave, can you please leave your, Cheryl? Please leave your manor number.
Oh, it's 792B.
If I can provide an update, please.
Yes, but before you leave, let Siobhan provide an update.
I didn't think you were responding. I'm sorry.
Well, if I could do very quickly, the water test is scheduled for tomorrow morning. But
Okay.
I've asked that someone please come down to talk with you.
Okay.
So please
Thank
stand
you.
by if you are able to.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Maggie, did you want to say something, Director Blackwell?
I just wanted to remind everybody that we usually do all the speakers first, but if she has to leave, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. All right, next speaker.
Our next speaker is Chris Collins.
Chris Collins, 3306Q, and I'm here with an update on the work of the foundation, which we do on behalf of village residents who are experiencing temporary financial crisis. This is about hospice care, what to expect. How would you react to being told that your spouse was being transitioned to hospice care? Fear? Sadness? Often people react with the same degree of fear that they did some 20 years ago to a diagnosis of cancer, although today cancer has become much more treatable. So what is your understanding of hospice care? The next broadcast of the Foundation of the Laguna Woods Village televised series, which is entitled Planning for the Inevitable, will focus on questions that we all have about hospice care, as well as examine some of the misconceptions and myths. For example, one misconception is that hospice care is only for cancer patients. Another is that patients only transition to hospice care have only a few days to live. And another issue is whether a patient can still receive treatment while in hospice care. So what is the difference between hospice and palliative care? So how is hospice care paid for? These questions and issues, among others, have been the focus of the Foundation's broadcast, which has gone on all month on TV6. Tune in and you can hear Dr. True McMahon, who is a graduate of Baylor College of Medicine. Dr. McMahon is a director of outpatient hospice and palliative care here at Memorial Care Saddleback Hospital. So if you'd like to view this on your own schedule, it's also available on the Foundation website, which is the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village.org. Can't talk today, excuse me. The Foundation of Laguna Woods Village.org, which is under the special tab of Planning for the Inevitable. So this website selection includes YouTube links for this broadcast and of all of our earlier broadcasts. So if you have any questions about this topic or the upcoming broadcast, please contact the Foundation at thefoundation@comline.com. And for more information about the Foundation, please go to our website at the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village. Please note that donations can also be made at PayPal or a credit card on the Foundation website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Dr. Elizabeth Romano.
And while she is coming up, I'll explain the process. There may not be answers today, but we will look into your concerns and get responses back in a timely fashion.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I appreciate all the time that you all put into this. My complaint is continuing that we are operating in violation of federal law in corporate compliance. We have no corporate compliance program that's required, and that's the primary job of the person who is in the CEO position. That exclusively is their main function to make sure that we don't end up with lawsuits. That is not happening. I was retaliated against. I was told I had to pay $500 to each person I wanted to talk to. They came and knocked on my door at night. They cut off my TV. Okay, this is not acceptable, and this is okay under the current management. So I mentioned last time that this is outside of the law and that we were trying to hold off a lawsuit. That lawsuit is now coming for operating outside of the compliance, because what happens is then there's going to be these lawsuits. And what's happening is we're going to have to pay for them. And that shouldn't be happening. And so again, I ask for you to have someone that's in that position that is qualified and will follow the law. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Our next speaker is Kathy Schill.
Good morning. Kathy Schill, 2189A. I wanted to come and speak to you today about the Building E plan that was passed yesterday morning into the afternoon by the GRF board. I've lived here since 2011. I've watched all the iterations, all the plans, all of the steps as we went along in this process for years. This time, actually, it was much better. GRF formed a space planning committee. Members of this board were on that committee. They worked for several weeks to define their process and what they wanted to accomplish. And then the chair of that committee very wisely opened this committee to everyone in the community and made them open meetings. This was invaluable this time because we weren't shut out. We knew step by step. We could see the studies that had been done. We heard the clubs present the value they presented to the community, the different services they provided. Also, very importantly, the history of how we got to where we are today. And as has been mentioned before, every 10 years, half of this community turns over. So there's always re-education that goes on. So this time, everybody had a say, everyone was heard, tensions ran high, some people were very locked into their positions, did not want to budge, which I think is sometimes happens in these meetings. But ultimately, they came to a very good plan that they passed yesterday afternoon, early yesterday afternoon. I just want to encourage you all to throw your support behind this plan in case it comes to a vote of all the corporate members. Do your study. All of the information is there. It's been studied up, down, sideways. I think everybody who wants to understand the ins and outs of this issue can have that information available. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. The other thing I wanted to talk about was to discourage you from following Third Board's lead on this recall issue. As I stated, the chair of the Space Planning Committee very wisely opened this and included the whole community. I feel that a lot of the hard feelings from some of those board meetings bled over. Third picked up and ran with it. Now, Third has issued a petition for recall for 2 GRF members. The recall is without cause. They haven't stated cause. 4 of the people that voted for this recall are not even running for their board again. So they're going to upset the apple cart, dirty their nest, and then run away and leave everyone else to solve these issues. So please support Rebuilding Plan E, Building E, and please do not engage in this recall. It costs a lot of money. The most recent I can refer to is...
Thank you. We're going
my
to need
time's
you to
up.
wrap up.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts. It's appreciated.
Okay, our next speaker is Marie Collins.
Good morning. I attended the GRF meeting yesterday and learned a lot of things. One of them I want to make sure that is communicated to you because it was not, I didn't know it before I went, and that is our Mr. Munoz, who is the department head for maintenance and construction, did a comprehensive
Thank you.
analysis of the comparison of those 2 plans about what to do about the security building. And I was surprised to see that they both cost just about the same. Take a look at these that he came up with. I was surprised to see that, number one. Number two, no matter what it costs, I'm also informed that the money already exists to do a rebuild of a separate building for the security department. I'm very security and safety is the first thing here, right? And these people need to be respected. They need a place. We need a place to go and come from them. We don't need to go through here and upstairs and 3rd floor. Please do not vote for anything that would put the security department on the 3rd floor of this building. Think about it. What are they for? Security, emergencies. What other kind of emergency might we have around here? An earthquake. You want your security department on the 3rd floor that has to go up and down elevators in an emergency? Well, not only in an emergency, but any call that they have. If they have to wait to go up and down the stairs and go through people traffic and car traffic and try to get out of here with the light, So I'm here to ask you if something comes up for you to vote for, that I'm not clear how that's going forward. Yesterday, the GRF voted for the proposal that will build a separate building for the security. And then I don't know what steps are coming next, but I just wanted to ask you if it ever comes up for you to vote for anything to put the security on the third floor, please do not do that. And I'm also in the PC club, and there were several people who have been in the PC club a lot longer than I have and explained what the PC club actually does for our residents, especially in the time of tax preparation. And they are associated with a foundation that gives them money to help us do this. So that's my spiel, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Bert Spagenthal.
Okay, my wife is also going to join me. She's on that list. Okay?
You're going to speak twice?
Yes.
No, I'm speaking once.
She's speaking once and then I. But
Good morning. My name is Deborah Stangenthal, and I reside at 2041C Vega Mariposa East. I am here today to defend our property after false accusations about us at the June 24th, 2024 landscape meeting. Resident from 2036A called in from Texas and stated my husband ripped up the grass in front of our manor. Look at him, who's going to do that? Being that I saw this on my computer, I could not identify which board member agreed with her at that meeting. And I cannot quote verbatim, but she in essence said, and this was the board member, I have been by the residence. It is a beautiful garden, must have cost a lot of money. But people just can't rip up grass on their own. There are rules. Guess what? We have the paperwork to prove our rules that the president in 2036A signed. We follow the rules. So prior to June 16, 2022, Laguna Woods landscapers and other workers used the area between our unit and 26A as a cut-through. This is what my yard looked like. My husband had gone to a town hall meeting and met Pearl Lee, who really guided us as to how to handle this situation. On June 16, 2022, my husband had completed a mutual landscape request form requesting turf reduction, which this village is working towards, and boulder removal between 2041 BC and 2036A, as it had become a safety issue. A worker on a mower almost hit the resident from 2036A. This request form was signed by the residents of 2036A, 2041B, 2037B, and 2038C. Pearl Lee checked in monthly with us to see if the work had been completed yet, and by the third month, when it hadn't, she got involved, and the next day, the grass was removed by landscaping. We had requested 3 palm trees to be placed in the area where they removed the grass and asked landscaping what had to be done next to beautify the area. And they told us we could do whatever we want as long as we maintain it. I invite any of you to come see what we have done to the front of our home. Our neighbor had used this as a walking cut-through to get to his carport since he cared for his mother in his unit 20 plus years. He asked if we would put in stepping stones when we did this, and so we did. Fast forward February 26, 2024, when security was called to our unit at 1:33 p.m. over a neighbor dispute about the stepping stones, which they had flipped over prior to calling security. A report was given to us, and I have a copy of that.
Ms. Spagenthal, you're out of time. Could you wrap it up pretty quickly? And
Yes,
maybe
I
your
have
husband-
this much left to read,
And
okay?
then-
I have facts. I'm sorry, I don't have hearsay. We complied, and the following day, my husband removed the stepping stones. Toward the end of March or April, the residents of 2036A had multiple people from landscaping to initiate planting flowers up their walkway, which is in front of our house, and that's fine. However, the following day, they left and went to Texas.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to let your husband complete this. We have to follow the rules.
this
All
one
right,
too,
Okay.
I'm right here.
All right, thank you.
Texas, the following day, everything that was planted up the walk had died due to them not being here to maintain it. They've also had a trellis put up in the middle of the common space, but that is not my concern today. My concern is the United Board and Landscaping Committee get the facts correct. I've also emailed Kurt Weinman and got a response from his assistant July 3rd that she will be getting back to me earlier
I
next
have a
week.
meeting with him tomorrow.
So that's next week.
No,
So,
it's tomorrow. Go ahead. You're wasting time.
okay, so as mentioned by my wife, the landscaping department removed the turf, planted palm trees. We were told we could plant whatever plants we wanted as long as we maintained them. We've done that for years. Here's pictures to show you. The stepping stones have been removed. Do you want someone who cares and maintains their areas around their manor or home, or have something like this, which is my neighbor's picture? Pictures I took of the neighbors. Everything is dying, everything is overgrown. They're not in town. They live here part-time. They're in Texas right now.
You're going to have to speak into the mic so
Oh.
that people at home can
Okay,
can
I'm
hear this
sorry.
as well.
So the neighbors next door, they're not in town. They're in Texas. They go on trips. They're here very infrequently. So what we are asking is just leave us alone. Let us do what we want to do and maintain a very nice area. Thank you.
And listen to facts, not hearsay.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Our next speaker is Carmen Pacella.
Thank you. My name is Carmen Pacella. I reside at 65E. I came with a whole list of items that I wanted to talk about, but there's only really two that make any sense. First off, thank you to the board for all of your time and effort and energy. And I know it's a very difficult job to run this village. But it was so eloquently stated by Kathy Schill and Marie Collins about the presentations yesterday. So I just want to tag in on what they said, copy it, put my name on it. Let the building E get built. Please vote for it. Don't move all the people around. Don't play musical chairs with 500 or 600 people. Build the building. It was already accounted for. Do the job. It was great that President Hopkins brought that to the public. He really didn't need to do that. And I see some retaliation coming. So I'm going to say, please, if it comes up to a recall, please do not recall President Jim Hopkins, and please do not recall Director Yvonne Horton. They both do a tremendous job for the village, and I'm glad to see that everyone's paying attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. We appreciate everyone being here today.
Next speaker is Elsie Addington.
Hi, I'm Elsie Addington, and I live at 2121Q. And before I forget, because I will, what he said. Okay. I heartily support a new, not disrupting what he said. Sorry. And also about the recall. Now, I want to speak today about some comments made by a United director at the July 2nd GRF open meeting. I'm sure that they were honest misunderstandings, but I'm concerned that misinformation might be taken as fact. The comments were about the equestrian center and the golf courses. First, the equestrian center. The director who went to the meeting, said that GRF should charge $1,100 per month to board a horse at the equestrian center like the Orange County Fairgrounds was doing per the OC Register. GRF charges $265 per month per stall for residents. It's a big difference. But it's not appropriate to compare the two. One is a small-scale amenity in a retirement community whose denizens mostly live on fixed incomes, and the OC Fair Equestrian Center is a much more complex facility with far more costs to cover. It's apples and oranges. Another misunderstanding is regarding the number of horses at the GRF facility. The director at the meeting said that 25 residents own horses at the center. There are, in fact, the following: 28 residents who board 30 horses, 9 horses owned by GRF, most of whom are available to residents and their guests to rent, 3 resident-sponsored non-residents, got that? They're non-residents, but they're sponsored by residents, who board horses at a higher fee, and there are 2 empty stalls which are on reserve. 2 residents are paying a fee to hold the stalls until they can move in their horses. So we got a full stable over there, just as a by the by. So there are 44 horses being boarded, owned by 30 residents, GRF, and a few non-residents. Now for the golf. The same United director stated that the residents were paying $65 per manor per month for the golf course. In actuality, residents in 2024 pay $47.99, let's just say $48 per manor per month to GRF for all 46 distinct recreation programs and activities, plus the support of 250 clubs. This is nowhere near the $65 number. The total to GRF for 2024 is $228 per manor per month. And of that, again, less than $50 goes to all of recreation.
Thank you.
Okay, so the correct figures for the amounts budgeted are, for the golf courses, $9.06 per manor per month, and for the equestrian center, $3.95 per manor per month. That's just a little bit of information to pass along or not. It's all in the 2024 Green Book on the Village website. Thank you for your time.
Excuse me. I'm sorry, you're out of time, but thank you so much.
I just said thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Elsie.
That's what I meant, is I'm out.
Okay, exit stage right. You're doing great. Thank you so much.
Next speaker is Leon Hallert.
Good morning. My name's Leon Hallard. I'm 878Q. I'm also president of the Billiards Club. Anybody on this board, I want to say just 3 things. One, anybody that's on the board and worked with the Recreation Department in any way to have us relocate to the art room, I appreciate it. You did a wonderful job. We've been really looking forward to the move, and I'm going to have a big open house for a lot of people when we do move in September. Number 2, we're totally off that wall. Cul-de-sac 81, the neighbors are getting afraid to park their cars in the guest area. It is pitch dark. I mean, totally. There is no lighting whatsoever in cul-de-sac 81. Just take a look at it. I don't care because I'm in 878, my carport's right out in front of the house. But the elderly people are starting to get concerned. Number 3, this recall, this young lady right here really expressed it extremely well. But I talked with Jim yesterday at the meeting at 9:31. Jim and Ms. Horton work for the residents. I mean, every single day, especially Ms. Horton, that I'm aware of and worked with her in the relocation and the billiard room. She's a great individual. She is totally for the clubs. She's for the residents every single day. And why somebody would even mention a third What has third got to do with a recall? But this gentleman here explained it to me as to what they can do, which is beyond me, why they would pick on two people who seem to be working daily for residents. And, hey, perfect. I like to see a lot less politics in all the boards. It seems like that is happening. I don't know why. Everybody that runs for board lives here, and they should only consider just the residents every day. There's no reason. And lastly, yes, build a new building. E should be a new building. Keep the people where they have been for many years. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is on Zoom, Cynthia Rupert.
Good morning. I hope everybody's going to have a lovely day today. My name is Cynthia Rupert. I'm at 165A. I am also a board member on BMS, but today I'm speaking as a resident. I encourage, as we've already heard, that you support the vote from GRF yesterday to replace with a new building for E, so that we do have a valid place for security to group together. As everyone has stated, putting them on a upper level is not copacetic and would cause issues with getting down and handling emergency situations. I also want to reiterate what everyone else has said about the recall for GRF. Yes, there seems to be more and more politics in voting for what a particular group or a particular director wants versus what's the best for the whole. And I think we all need to take a step back and realize we're all working here together to make our community better, more efficient, safer, and happier. So please, one, think very hard about GRF's proposal for Building E. And two, please, Jim Hopkins and Ms. Horton do a fantastic job. They're very dedicated. They have been for many, many years. And to see them ousted because they don't conform to what other people want on the board is a disgrace. Thank you. Have a lovely day.
Thank you for your comments.
Okay, we have two emails. The first one's going to be Stephanie Giannani. Hello, I have a golf cart that is handicap modified golf cart, and I use it in our area. I have a real car, but I don't drive it. I have a rod in my leg, and I avoid driving big cars, so I need somebody to get maintenance over there to make a point to either upgrade the circuit breaker box because this is a chronic problem. I think some people have gotten cars that are electric, and it zaps our electricity and maybe the air conditioning now because of the heat. But still, the golf carts needs to be maintained and charged, and I pay the fee every year anyway. I did speak with Ellen Leonard, and she suggested that I write to you. I appreciate your help in this matter. This has gone on and on. I have no electricity, very rarely off and on since September, and I started making complaints, and finally they came out and did something, and for a while it was fine. Now all of a sudden there's no electricity, so please help in this matter. It came to my attention in October 2023, my golf cart was not at full charge after being plugged in no longer than 24 hours. I checked the connection, but found it was correctly connected at the wall and on the golf cart. I did nothing more, as I thought my reconnecting the wall plug and golf cart plug had resolved the issue. I am not knowledgeable about electricity or mechanical equipment. The one in my life who would have known these was John, who passed away in 2018. In November 2023, it came to my attention the golf cart charge was very low after being plugged in for some days. I called Saddleback Golf Carts. They told me the costly lithium batteries should not be allowed to drain completely, as this would ruin the batteries beyond repair. They are supposed to last at least 10 years. These batteries are 2 years old. In December 2023, I reported to resident services electricity in the golf cart had been on and off for many days. I learned this was due to an inferior circuit breaker that kept tripping. It is not designated to handle large batteries required by the newer electric vehicles that period. There are no electric golf carts in 10-vehicle carport where my golf cart has been for many years. Never heard of a tripping circuit breaker before now. On January 2nd, 2024, I risked being stranded by the golf cart to pull for that to get needed exercise. I did notice until I was close to pull for, the gauge was down to 1 dot of field charge. The golf cart has handicap plates and is used to take.
Paul, are we at the 3-minute level?
We
or-
have 5 seconds left.
5 seconds left, okay. And
I'll stop
perhaps
right
we
here.
could share that email with the rest.
Okay. And I have one more email. This is from Catherine Bryant. Let me pull this up right now. United board members, I wish to let the board know my opinion on being part of the recall. Without reason, of the 2 GRF members, I do not support this move by Third Mutual boards. I can only believe it is political and definitely not in the best interest of our community. Additionally, I want my mutual, United, to fully support the rebuild of Building E. That's it.
Thank you, Paul. Does that conclude the speakers? All right. Does anyone have response to open forum speakers, or is it best, do we think it's best to just continue to send it out, the responses out?
I would like to make 2 quick comments if
Sure,
I could.
absolutely.
Again, with the Garcia matter, the water test is scheduled for tomorrow morning, provided the neighbor grants access, and they've been given 24 hours to grant access. And then with respect to the Spagenthals, Kurt Weeman is meeting with them tomorrow, so hopefully he is able to assuage their concerns at that time.
Thank you. Thank you. And they should know that that was taken off. We had taken action on that at the landscape meeting, and it has been taken off the consent item and will be referred back to the committee. So we're waiting for your meeting with Kurt and the landscape crew. Pearl?
In regards to 2041C, I've been working with these residents for some time, and then the other issues has came up. But what it sounds like, not so much the landscaping itself, but it sounds like the neighbor dispute. So we need to look at this situation, not just what it appears in the landscape issue, but I think there are some rather serious neighbor dispute with the disagreement and how they look at things and how they argue whatever one unit does, the other one attacks and stuff. So maybe that's in a broader scale, we need to really look at this and try to solve, because I know they've been going on with many situations where they really argumented here.
Thank you for passing that along, and Kurt is listening, so he'll
Yes,
take
yes,
that
I
under
think so.
consideration.
Thank you. Director Liberatore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to address the lady that's having trouble with her charging her golf cart. To speak to my own situation in cul-de-sac 40, the way I understand it, in our laundry room, there's 150 amps go box outside the laundry room. 100 goes into the laundry room. The other 50 go to serve all the carports there. And so in my particular carport, we have 3 people charging. And basically, we've learned to live together, and we have a system. Because the circuit breakers are 20 amps and won't support a lot of charging. And so we know what to do. We go into the laundry room and recycle the circuit breakers. But for a lady like this who's lost a person in her life that does all that stuff, it's an issue for her. And I think it's an issue that the board should get into more diligently, the EVs and the golf carts, because it is an issue. And I had a person at the Resident Advisory Committee was having the same issue in his cul-de-sac. So I think us as a board should get more involved in trying to solve this problem if we can. I know it's going to be a costly thing, but something we have to address for residents. That's all I have.
Thank you. Director Tooney.
Yeah, I'd like to make one statement about the open meetings and that over the Building E. About a year and a half ago, the GRF board brought to the corporate members a proposal for a Building E in a closed session. And everything had been closed sessions to that point. And it was the corporate members, the third board, the United board, and the Mutual 50 board that voted to open up the meeting and did not hold that corporate meeting vote. They voted for an open meeting instead. So when I hear that the meetings were opened by GRF and everything, the first meeting on Building E was opened by the corporate members instead of having a closed meeting. And that would be in the minutes of the meetings and that. So I just wanted to point that out.
All right, thank you. All right, Nancy, Director Carlson.
That's okay. We're on a first-name basis,
Right.
Susie.
Doing this.
Yes, I just want to make a simplified comment about recall. I'm not expressing an opinion one way or the other. I've lived here since 2011. There's been recalls involved. You know, as in any business or corporation or educational institution, you have the face that is to the public and what they see, so on and so forth. And then there's your person's particular duties in terms of process and dealing within the corporation and other people and other directors and committees and so on and so forth that the public doesn't necessarily see. So there's a process. Recall has its own process. You have to let it run its course. The time for, let's call it allegations, causes of actions, a list of particulars, so on and so forth. There's a time and place for that before the right people, what is announced. I frankly don't know personally exactly what that plays out, but there's a time for that. And so, you know, I'm not in a position to make any opinion about it one way or the other until it runs its course. And I've seen it run its course here before, so that's all I have to say. Just to edify everybody that it's not just necessarily how each of us as a director treats the residents, it's also about how we treat our duties as well. Thank you.
Are there any other comments by board members? All right, I would like to respond too on that, on the circuit breakers constantly flipping. I understand that, and it is a concern. We have a lot of people who are experiencing that, and I'm sure that Siobhan will be asking her staff to look into that. I don't know if that's something that we should directly ask the maintenance or general services department to look at and perhaps be part of their committee hearing so that people can come and understand what's happening there and what can be done. So that's a suggestion. And I would like to thank everyone who came today. Your information and your stances are important to us. We need to hear from you. We respect what you're saying to us. Thank you. Pardon? I can't hear you, Maggie.
Okay.
Okay. Siobhan, would you like to respond to anything more? Or
I let us off, so I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We will be getting back to all of you. And thank you. All right. Now we are up to the VMS board update.
No, we are not.
We are
We
not?
are on 8B.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Thank you.
8B. Thank you for the correction.
Okay.
Response to past open forum speakers, and that is Director Blackwell.
Thank you, yes, okay. The past meeting was June 11th. Chris Collins gave the foundation update. Ms. Romano talked about the heat problem and the hot weather. There are drop-in lounge information is on the village website. Heat information is on the village website. They just sent out a Friday announcement which gave locations. Almost every clubhouse has hours for cooling centers. And so you can check on the website for cooling centers if you want a place to stay that is cool. The renovations, of course, in Clubhouse 1 are preventing anyone from using Clubhouse 1, but most of the other clubhouses have some hours and places where you can stay to stay cool when it really gets hot. Mr. Beckett talked about borrowing funds from the reserve to pay the property taxes early. Well, the alternative to that is we could bill the residents at once in January for their property taxes instead of spreading out their bill throughout the year. And if there is a call by the residents for us to do that, we might consider it. But I think most residents might prefer paying their property taxes a little bit at a time through the year rather than 2 weeks after Christmas. Let's see, Maxine McIntosh feels she wants the upcoming election to have a lot of people. Well, there are 10 people running, so there are a lot of people who are running for election. Joe Fitzcam thanked the VMS CEO for her work. And let's see. Tala Fianelli commented on potential fumigation of her building. The last fumigation, the staff reports that the last fumigation on the building was 16 years ago in 2008. An escrow report for the manor that is going to be sold came out positive for termites, which is the reason they want to do the fumigation. But that was postponed when a resident submitted a medical note and rescheduled for June 2024. However, it is asked to be postponed again until October. Since this is the second request for postponement, further review and board action is needed and pending. But it has been 16 years since their last, and there has been a positive test for termites. Ellen Zucker spoke about she had a letter from the board allowing her to park in a guest spot due to her disability. Staff found the reference letter approved by the board in 2016. Staff will provide Ms. Zucker with a copy for her record and will coordinate with General Service and Security to provide appropriate signage designating that space as reserved for Manor 172E. Staff will also notify the residents in the immediate area of this special accommodation that was approved by the board. And that's the report for last time. Thank you.
All right, now we are up to the VMS board update, and we're looking forward to it. Director Robledo.
Good morning, board members. Pleasure to be here. Several months ago, we formed an ad hoc committee. When I say we, the board, VMS board, formed an ad hoc committee to look at how VMS compares to the outside world, providing services such as maintenance and construction and security and recreation. And we now have a draft report. It was distributed to the board members in packets. We're not making it public until we have comment from the board, and we'll incorporate those comments. But it did show that we compare very favorably in each of the departments and overall with regard to our assessments. And I would be the first to acknowledge that things are not perfect. As you hear today, we have issues in the village, and we deal with them as best we can. And also, I'd be the first to acknowledge that our assessments are not cheap. But I'm also a resident, and I feel that even though they're not cheap, I don't personally want cheap. I want good value, good bang for your buck, quality, a really good price for the quality that we get, and I think this report does show that. And I kind of use the analogy, you get the Disneyland experience at the county fair price. And Ms. Addington talked about that, $48 for all of the amenities, the recreation amenities that we enjoy. It's quite a deal. I used to pay $170 a month for a tennis club, and here I have a tennis club built in. To golf in South Orange County, it costs at least $70 to $100 a round, and we play for $8 or $9. So, and I'm the first to want low assessments and low, and that's one of the reasons I'm on the board. I want to make sure things are not unreasonable. But what we have here is a report that goes department by department, and I think it'll be a useful tool for this board to dig into specifics, because we have gone through specifics. For example, we looked at the contracting out versus doing things with our own employees, and it shows that we contract out a lot of things. Within maintenance and construction, the roofing is contracted out, the painting is contracted out. There are things that are contracted out where it makes sense, but then there are things that don't make sense to contract out. For example, security, we use gate ambassadors as the first line of security. If someone blows past them, then they call the real security. But through the use of gate ambassadors instead of official security guards, we do very well to keep the prices down. Paving the roads, we have a system of slur sealing versus replacement, and so through the years, this organization has done things very well to get good bang for the buck. We're considered an owner operator in maintenance, so the craft people work under the auspices of us as the owner. So they do not have to have the requisite licensing that is required by an independent contractor. So if you go out, if we had licensed plumbers and electricians, it would cost a lot more than we're paying, but we're still in compliance. We have the supervision of these employees and the training of the employees to get the job done without the cost that would be entailed by contracting it out. And as I said, we are not satisfied. We acknowledge the shortcomings, and we would welcome any specific comments in any of these areas for us to dig into and go further, versus a generalization that says, oh, it's too expensive. I hear that a lot, and one of the things we have in here is a comparison of assessments. And I have friends who live in Orange County, and it seems like the average is $450, from my anecdotal, it's not scientific, anecdotal. $450, they have an unheated pool and a jacuzzi, and our assessment is $700 or $800 depending on where we live, but we have so much more, and we do get the Disneyland experience for the county fair price. So with that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions or talk about them.
Director Liberatore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Director Robledo, I'm really impressed with this report you give. And I don't know if a lot of us know what benchmarking is, because it has many different applications. And this one is great because it tells me that the board is comparing our organization to outside organization. And it provides us perspectives and new ideas. So I kudos for this. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I would like to acknowledge our committee. It was just not myself, but it was also Rosemary De Lorenzo and Dr. Reyes, who are on the committee. And I'd like to acknowledge Siobhan and all the department heads. But thank you for your appreciation.
All right, great. Director Tooney?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Manny, and I agree with your assessment, and I agree that we get a lot of value for what we pay in our assessments, and I think this is a great place to live, and hopefully as boards we continue to make that happen.
Good, thank you.
Yes. Director Carlson?
The trifecta. Good job.
Thank you.
I just want to say, too, also to the residents, where in California can you buy a house for this amount of money with all these goodies? Or really anywhere in the nation? So the fact that we're able to do that, and I can go to bed at night knowing that if something happens, I can pick up the phone and call resident services as security. And even if our problem is it may take some time to get some of the things resolved, I have the peace of mind knowing I can do that. So I'm really pleased that this benchmarking studies is kind of honing in on where we need to get our finger out of the dike and patch it up. Thank you, Manny, for your service.
Yes.
Yeah, just I'd like to encourage you that keep on doing good work. I mean, I realize that even though it's very detailed, a lot of work has been done, but there are some negative comments coming in. You know, there are always those kind of people that are very critical and not as much as appreciative as you need to be. So I just want you to encourage that it's not the whole board members or anybody who are involved and listen to. And the work you haven't done, it's been great. So thank you.
I agree with that, and there's more work to be done. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much for
Yeah.
coming and presenting. Very good work. We appreciate it. All right, and now we're down to the CEO report. Siobhan, would you like to present your report?
Yes, thank you, First Vice President. It's my honor to give a quick update on some of the goings-on in the village this morning. I'd like to start with a reminder about the 2025 budget meetings. We're about to hold meetings on version 2 of the budget. United will be reviewing version 2 on Wednesday, July 17th at 1:30 p.m. here in the boardroom. And then version 3 of the budget will be reviewed by United on Monday, August 12th at 1:30 p.m. in the boardroom, with adoption slated for the September open board meeting on September 10th. And the full budget schedule is on the website should anyone need the complete version. Also, I would like to provide an update on the new village website. This is a project that's been underway for some time now. The design phase is now complete. This phase identified key functionalities, design elements for residents, board members, vendors, realtors, and staff, and created design wireframes that align with brand guidelines, vision, and resident expectations. In progress is the development phase that focuses on document handling, search, and single sign-on integration. I do want to mention that we collaborated with residents for user testing, resident engagement, and operational transparency, so I want to thank those residents who have been involved with the project. The project completion date is late August, early September, but most importantly, I want to mention that Urban Insight, the developer of the website, will provide an overview of design, navigation, and search features at the July Media and Communications meeting, and that will take place on Monday, July 15th at 1:30 p.m. here in the boardroom, if anyone's interested in a preview of the new village website. The Clubhouse 1 beautification progress is moving along, and it's still on schedule for completion in late August. Key milestones completed to date include establishing the temporary bus hub in the parking lot next door, exterior and interior painting, flooring, drywall patching. Other ongoing tasks are proceeding as planned, including window replacement, electrical work, the ballroom fireplace renovations, and bathroom upgrades. Other work not part of the original beautification project, but that is being completed during the closure includes pool replastering, new pool chemical distribution system, parking lot rehabilitation, and beam replacement in the shuffleboard and archery rooms. Here are some photos of the progress. On the left side is the multi-purpose room as it currently stands, and on the right side is the new billiards room, previously the art room. On the next slide is restroom tile installation. On the next slide is the pool locker room, both post demolition and then the start of build back of that locker room area. And then on the screen are the conference rooms post-demolition and how they currently stand as they're being rebuilt. BMS is also pleased to announce an important resident services enhancement carried on by our staff across the hall. Automated emails are now being sent for common area requests, such as laundry room repairs, street lights, rodents, shrubs, and other items that are not tied to your specific manor. Residents will now receive timely updates about the status of those requests, keeping them informed when a new ticket has been created, scheduled, and completed. As a reminder, automated emails can only be sent to those residents who have emails on file with resident services. So if you don't have an email on file, you might want to share that with resident services so you get these important announcements. Residents can also view the common area tickets via their resident portal. This provides a transparent, convenient way to stay updated on the progress of common area tickets for any location in the village. This is important because the system previously focused only on those tickets associated with your individual manors. This new functionality allows residents to monitor resolution of these issues with the same efficiency as tickets associated with manors. And this further enhances our service to our customers, our residents. Shown on the screen before you is the new comprehensive information pamphlet that our communications team created to inform residents of self-service options. This details the resident portal, dwelling live, who to contact, and much more. It's available out at the concierge desk, at resident services, and throughout the village at clubhouses. Again, this enhances our service to our residents to help them navigate our community. Next slide, please. The Recreation Department is announcing a full Gate 12 closure on Monday, August 12th for a one-day slurry coat and striping project of the parking lots. Closed on this day will be all activities behind Gate 12, including golf, Restaurant 19, pickleball, lawn bowling, Pool 2, and Clubhouse 2. And Security Services is planning an exciting emergency preparedness event. This will include vendors to help educate and supply our village residents, provide an earthquake simulator experience. Orange County Sheriff and fire authorities will have booths to discuss their disaster strategies. There will be a screening of the North Ridge earthquake video, which illustrates how neighbors help neighbors during those rescue operations. The event date is to be determined, but it's going to be in September. It's anticipated to be about a month prior to the Great Shakeout, which occurs on Thursday, October 17th. So please be on the lookout for that. And that concludes my update this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was excellent. Very productive month. We very appreciate that. Now we'll go to the consent calendar, and that is item 11. And all matters listed under the consent calendar are recommended for action by committees and will be enacted by the board by one motion. In the event that an item is removed from the consent calendar by members of the board, such items shall be subject to further discussion and action by the board. Are there any items that the board members would like to pull out? I think we reviewed this at our agenda setting and we're fine. Just to let you know what these are, I'll read them very quickly. Consistent with its statutory obligations, the subcommittee of the board, consisting of the treasurer and at least one other board member, reviewed the United Laguna Woods Mutual preliminary financials for the months of May 2024, and the review is ratified. Recommendation from the landscape committee, we do not have one. These items were on 28-day notice, and we did not hear anything that was concerning, and so that's why they are in the consent calendar. Recommendation from the Architectural Controls and Standards Committee, recommend to approve the request to remove the non-exclusive common area planter and replace with concrete slab at Manor 754-C. D, approve the review of the United subleasing and transfer of trust documents approved in June 2024. Recommendation from the Finance Committee, none. Update on United Committee assignments. Essentially, we created an ad hoc committee, and Director Liberatore and other members of the committee will probably speak to that a bit later. But it's the members on that are Anthony Liberatore, Vidya Kale, Nancy Carlson, and our alternate is Tom Tuning, and our advisor is Dick Rader. Let's see, GRF committee highlights. We're going to move those in as well under the consent calendar because normally those are just notices about when our next meeting will be. And then H, updated United Revenue Ad Hoc Committee mission statement. And again, I think people will be discussing that later. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar? Mickey? Yes, okay. Mickey moves it, and Maggie seconds it. Thank you. All right. I will ask the board members, and if you would like a break for about 5 minutes, because we are on 12, and we have quite a ways to go. So if we could take maybe a 5-minute break and hurry back, and we'll get started again.
Okay, let's go.
All right. Thank you. board back. We're just minus one person, and I'm sure she'll be coming in quickly. Let's move to item 12, which is our unfinished business. And I see we have staff in the audience too to help us if we need to answer questions and get explanations. All right, Maggie, you want to read 12A? And that is entertain a motion to approve rescission to standards 26, solariums and garden rooms. And in June was the initial notification, 28-day notification for member review and comments to comply with the civil code.
Resolution 0124XX rescinds standard 26 solariums and garden rooms. Whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual recognizes the need to review standards as necessary, and whereas the Mutual recently revised the language in Standard 39 balcony and patio enclosures to incorporate identical processes currently contained in Standard 26 solariums and garden rooms, whereas the aforementioned integrations of procedures would create a duplication of information, the Mutual recognizes the need to rescind Standard 26 solariums and garden rooms. Now therefore be it resolved, July 9, 2024, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby rescinds Standard 26 solariums and garden rooms as attached to the official minutes of the meeting, and resolve further that Resolution U-02-110 adopted August 13, 2002 is hereby canceled, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. This is just eliminating a duplication. I move this resolution.
Is there a second? Director Tuning is a second. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this, or are we ready to vote? We're ready to vote? Okay. Pardon me?
Okay.
We'll do the hands in arms today.
Okay, yes, okay. Please raise your hands if you're in favor of this motion. All opposed or all opposed? Is there anyone who abstains? Oh, right, that's, Director Leonard is abstaining. All right.
No. Willard.
Willard, oh, I'm so sorry, Georgiana. Yes, excuse me. Faux pas on that. Okay, B, entertain a motion to approve revision to Standard 34, awnings. Again, this is a 28-day notification. And Maggie?
Okay. Whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual recognizes the need to amend standards and create new standards as necessary, and whereas the Mutual recognized the need to revise Standard 34 awnings, now therefore be it resolved, July 9, 2024, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts revisions and amendments to Standard 34 patio and balcony awnings as attached to the official minutes of this meeting, and resolve further Resolution 0113-140 adopted August 13, 2013 is hereby superseded and canceled. Resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. The 28-day notification for member review and comments to comply with Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied. I move this resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mickey? Is a second? Let's indicate by raising hands if we, or first, or is there any discussion regarding this? No, okay. All in favor, please raise your hands. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, the next is item C, entertain a motion to approve the 2025 collection and lien enforcement policy. And we'll have Maggie discuss that.
Okay. 2025 Collection and Lien Enforcement Policy, Resolution 0124XX. Whereas in accordance with California Civil Code, United Laguna Woods Mutual maintains a collection and lien enforcement policy that outlines the procedures, policies, and practices employed by the mutual in enforcing lien rights or other legal remedies for defaulting payment of assessments. And whereas legal counsel has reviewed the existing collection and lien enforcement policy and determined that the policy complies with civil code requirements and reflects current practices for collection of mutual delinquencies, now therefore be it resolved July 9th, 2024, that the Board of Directors hereby adopts the 2025 United Laguna Woods Mutual Collection and Lien Enforcement Policy as attached to the official minutes of this meeting. Resolved further, the policy statement is provided pursuant to the requirements of California Civil Code Section 5310A7 and will be distributed to members in the November 2024 as part of the annual policy statement. Resolved further that Resolution 012371, adopted December 12, 23, is hereby superseded and canceled on the effective date of January 1, 2025. Resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. The June initial notification, 28-day notification for member review and comments to comply with Civil Code 4360 has been satisfied. I move this resolution.
Mickey seconds. All right, is there discussion on this item? See no discussion, let's call for the vote. Would you please raise your hand if you're in favor of this? All right, thank you. That passes. And now we are up to the disciplinary update report, and we have, I believe, Lucinda here to talk about this. So thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Board. So this is Agenda Item 12B. So for the month of June, there were increases in your alterations maintenance, your animal nuisance, and your normal nuisances, which is normal for summer as members are out and about in the community. Windows are open, so we get more reports of loud music, loud TVs, conversations. We expect it to die down once the summer months cool down and everyone closes their windows again, essentially. And that concludes my report, if there's any questions for me.
Director Liberatore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could you give me a little update on this alteration maintenance? What are our problems that we're encountering there?
It's just members having alterations that need repair. It could be as easy as a balcony awning or a patio awning, or their storage cabinets just need to be taken care of.
Okay, and how do we discover that? Somebody complains or?
Sometimes residents report it, or when staff is out and they just notice something's dilapidated and needs to be brought to the members' attention.
Thank you.
Director Tooney.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank you for the report on the illegal occupancy that was provided during the month. I noticed on that almost all of them except one were 2024 cases, which basically means you're completing all the cases each year during that year, and there's not a lot lingering. Is that normal then?
Yes, we do our best to address everything as promptly within the disciplinary process that United has.
Because I think that's great to see it that way, so thank you for that. On the clutter issue, there's a lot of clutter issues. Are most of those reported as complaints or through the staff notification?
It's a little bit of both. Sometimes we'll go out for one and then we notice that the neighbor also has similar clutter issues, so we have to cite both because we don't want to be alleged of selective enforcement. So it could be a combination of both.
Thank you.
I believe Director Willis.
Ellen? Or Georgiana, excuse me.
Yes, I have a question on the delinquencies.
Yes.
I don't know, when I look at this, how long-term they are, or were there 31 in April, and then were these different 31 or the same 31s? In other words, how long-term are some of these? Because it would give us a better idea if we knew on that.
So I'd have to get a breakdown of numbers for you, which we could provide. But we do, the delinquencies, the disciplinary process, so we'll bring them to a disciplinary hearing, and then we'll have their cable and GRF facilities suspended. And if they don't pay, then they just continue on with the suspension. But if they do pay, they get removed. So we'll have to just break down the numbers for you.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, if there are no further questions, thank you so much for coming and providing the update.
No worries. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. We are now on to new business, and the first thing on the new business is town halls. And Director Tom Tuning will update us on this topic.
Okay, thank you. I just want to let people know that the purpose of this Friday's town hall meeting is to seek member and input mainly about cost savings, revenue generation, and operating efficiencies. We'll have a brief overview of the current activities that are going on, including the ad hoc committee that was formed and some other items, followed by open forum for speakers on those issues, and then there will be an open forum for any issues that United members wish to bring. So that's this Friday at 2 o'clock at Clubhouse 3.
Thank you, Tom. That's great. All right, now we're on B, entertain a motion to approve the passive business policy and application. This is on 28-day notification for member review and comments. Maggie?
Resolution 0124XX, revised policy regulating passive home business. United Mutual's governing document states that members shall use their units as a private dwelling and for no other purpose. And whereas United Mutual recognized the need to establish restricted conditions under which a passive business may be conducted, and on September 11, 2001, the board adopted its policy regulating home occupations. And whereas it is necessary to update the current policy by removing any reference to Laguna Woods Mutual number 50, making clarifying statements that the mutual's intent to the policy is to prescribe a reasonable standard that allows certain businesses to operate in a member's unit without negatively affecting the neighbors or the community, and to make other Scrivener administrative updates by making language consistent through the policy. Now therefore be it resolved, August 13, 2024, that the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts the revised policy regulating passive home businesses as attached to the official meeting minutes of the corporation, and resolve further that any violations of said policy can result in suspension of the use of GRF facilities and voting privileges and a monetary fine, penalty of up to $500, and resolve further the Resolution U0182, adopted September 11, 2001, is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. This is the July initial notification. Should the board endorse the proposed revisions, staff recommends that a motion be made and seconded to accept the resolution and allow discussion to ensure that the resolution reads to the satisfaction of the board. Staff then recommends that a board member postpones the resolution to the next available board meeting, no less than 28 days from the postponement, to comply with Civil Code 4360. I move that we accept this resolution and allow discussion, and then pass it and set it over for 28 days postponement.
Okay, we have a first.
I just,
Okay, is there a second to this? Okay, Director Kale is the second. And then, is there discussion? Nancy?
I'm looking at page 9 of 14 and 11 of 14. Basically, it's the same. One's the blue line, and one is the policy regulating. Item number 8, I'll read. It says, "No tools, materials, or any equipment used in the business may generate smoke, noise, dust, odors, or vibration that are typical
Or
of a
atypical.
residential property use." In other words, they're saying no light manufacturing.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the one that I have an issue with. Item 9, a business that uses telephone, computer, or mail marketing may not ship, send, or otherwise distribute or receive delivery of business-related goods or merchandise at the dwelling. That's pretty hard to enforce. First of all, it's kind of tampering on the U.S. Postmaster's right to deliver mail, et cetera, to a property. If we're saying we're not going to be doing light manufacturing at this unit, say you're a PR person and you need to receive from that big A company, a delivery of 32-pound paper to your house to use in your computer printer, that wouldn't technically be a violation pursuant to this policy. I think we should eliminate 9. I think we have enough coverage in here of what's involved. I'll take another example. Say you're making jewelry. We have Clubhouse 4 and all those activities there, but there are people who go home and they make bracelets and necklaces and things like that. And they receive through the mail the little accoutrements. And technically in this policy, that would be breaching the policy. I don't think it's necessary. I would strike 9.
Okay, thank you, Director Carlson. We have someone from staff. Oh, Tony, do you want to talk first, or would
Yes,
you
Madam
like
Chair.
staff to answer that?
I don't like rules that can't be enforced. So I need to understand, if we have this, how are we going to enforce it? That's my question. Thank you.
All right. And would you please introduce yourself for the record? And
Yes, my name is Jeff Spees, the Community Services Supervisor.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. These policies, all we did was make some minor administrative changes on these. So line item 9, that would just be a complaint that would come in, and we would have to have, a compliance, someone go out. It's very rare. We've never had any complaints on this type of policy. We've already submitted this to 3rd. They're currently on their 28-day review of this policy, but we can look at this and address these issues.
Nancy, would you like to make a motion to remove this?
Yeah, I will. And I just want to reiterate for the record, when we walk around the village, how many packages we see now at the front doors of residents. In essence, it would be saying, we need a police force to go and knock on the door and say what's in that package. And it would be unnecessary and burdensome. So I will move, or am I amending the motion? I move that we strike item 9 of this policy.
Is there a second? Second. Okay. Thank you, Georgiana. Discussion?
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
Oops.
okay.
That's on.
This is what protects the neighbors.
Which Georgiana? Willis or Willis?
I'm sorry, I have it on silent and it's not obeying, so
Okay.
let me just shut it down.
Okay.
Okay.
This is,
That's twice as good.
this
Yes.
is, okay. This is the part that can be tiresome and troublesome for the neighbors. It depends. If we have no rule, no regulation here, then a thundering herd of traffic can come into the hallways. And it can be thousands of packages a day, or at least 100, or even 50. More so than we have, as we are a retirement community. Our people treasure the peace and quiet of the community, although everybody does get a lot of stuff delivered now. If we allow a business then to operate and deliver innumerable stuff without regulation, the neighbors would feel like they're on a freeway. Every time they go down the hall, they run into somebody. So I feel that we have this, and that compliance be mindful of the usual traffic, which is increasing now, and be mindful that if it's doubled or tripled, that would be something really shocking for a neighbor. I mean, they can't get in and out to walk their dog. They can't have peace in the kitchen when they're doing things. That we leave it up to compliance. Ship or otherwise, or really, that we leave it this way and leave it up to compliance to determine what would be reasonable. Because this could be quite a trial for a neighbor, particularly someone who is home with a headache or a heart disease or whatever. But I would like it to remain in there, and that it be then a question issue that compliance handles in the dealing with this complaint. Thank you.
All right. Nancy, would you like to address that?
Yeah, I respectfully disagree. I think we're at the point which you're describing that we'd be having to get search warrants. And I'm just trying to not complicate us and rule us to death. I don't see I think this is, I'm not saying it's frivolous, it's burdensome. And the way the world is working now, people are not backing off ordering things, so on and so forth. If we were going to have a policy about worrying about what's clutter in the hallway now, we would basically saying, I'm sorry, we're going to have to suspend people ordering and having delivery from Amazon, FedEx, DoorDash, and everybody else. Again, I don't think this is I think it's burdensome, and I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think we need to add more onto compliance on this point. And then compliance would have to say, well, we need a search warrant to open this package.
Okay. All right.
Hold on. A point of order here. I believe that Ms. Carlson runs a business from her home. And so I believe she should recuse herself on this issue.
All right, then I will make the motion on Nancy's behalf. I would like to, if I heard staff correctly, they have not had problems with this. And so I hate to make rules that might, get someone, but it doesn't affect the whole. I can see if somebody's delivering in car parts and they've got a big radiator in front, but that's, so I think we've addressed this, and if it's all right, I will take Nancy's first, and then if you're willing to second it again.
Excuse me, Chair, just for the record, yeah, I'm a designer. So it's intellectual property design. So I'm not manufacturing per se. I'm not a manufacturer. I think I'm entitled to vote, but if there was even a hint of a conflict of interest, I would let everybody else vote.
Okay, that is up to Tom.
I have two comments. The first is for Nancy to recuse herself, up to Nancy. It's not up to any board member. But secondly, I would agree with almost everything that was said here, both Nancy and both Maggie. And I'd rather see the item left in, just because if there is a problem, it gives compliance more leverage, and it's not going to be used unless you have a problem in this area. The other is to be in agreement with Third also on this item, so that our staff does not have two different policies going on, that they have to enforce, one for Third and one for United. So even though I might agree with the burdensome part here, it's never going to be used unless there's a serious problem. So I'd like to see it left in.
All right. Is there anyone else who would like to discuss this? Let's have, and I think we should leave Nancy as the person who made the motion, because you don't believe that you should have any conflict with this. Is that correct? Okay. All right, then we'll leave that as is. All in favor of Nancy's proposal, please raise your hand.
Wait. You mean of the amendment?
Of the amendment. of the amended motion? Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Those opposed? Oh, so it's a tie. Oh, Pearl is a tiebreaker, all right. Okay, so that motion fails. Thank you for bringing this up. Good discussion on both sides.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Now we vote on the main issue.
All right. And I think, was that first that you already made the motion and it was seconded, I believe?
Right.
Okay.
Lydia seconded.
Lydia seconded it?
Right.
Okay, so let us vote on this regulation change. All in favor, say aye.
Or raise hand.
Raise hand, I'm sorry, raise hand. All opposed? Okay. Are there some abstaining, or did?
That's only 7 votes.
So let's start again. All in favor, raise your hands. Okay. And opposed? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So I believe we're up to 13C. Entertain a motion to approve revision to Standard 24 skylight installations.
Resolution 0124XX revised Standard 24 skylight installations. Whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual recognizes the need to amend standards and create new standards as necessary, and whereas the Mutual recognized the need to revise Standard 24 skylight installations, now therefore be it resolved, August 13, 2024, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts revisions and amendments to Standard 24 skylight installations as attached to the official minutes of this meeting, and resolve further Resolution 01-1909, adopted January 8th of 2019, is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move this resolution that we pass this resolution today and put it over for a 28-day postponement to comply with Civil Code 4360.
Is there a second? Anthony Liberatore is our second. Is there discussion on this? Okay, all in favor, raise your hands. All right, thank you, that is passed. All right. We are now on D, entertain a motion to approve revision to Standard 43, which is bathroom splits. Tony's committee was very busy. Yeah.
They do the work. Okay, Resolution 0124XX, revised Standard 43 bathroom splits. Whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual recognizes the need to amend standards and create new standards as necessary, and whereas the Mutual recognized the need to revise Standard 43 bathroom splits, now therefore be it resolved, August 13, 2024, the Board of Directors of the Corporation hereby adopts revisions and amendments to Standard 43 bathroom splits as attached to the official minutes of the meeting, and resolved for the Resolution 01-18-114, adopted November 13, 2018, is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolved further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move this resolution and that it be put over for a 28-day postponement to comply with 4360.
All right, is there a second? Director Liberatore? Is there discussion on this? Director Tooney?
Yeah, I'd like to ask staff what implications this has to our residents. I mean, what impact will you see this causing?
Certainly. And good morning. Is it still good morning? Is it afternoon?
Thank you.
The resolution was updated to allow for greater design flexibility in the process instead of simply saying you can't do that. The standard has been revised to say, well, this is what you can do, but these are the requirements under which you can do that. So we've added greater flexibility in the design process. We've added clarification of the responsibilities and workflow, and then we're also updating the compliance with state and local building codes. So if there's a specific question, I can certainly try to answer that for you.
So is there anything negative to our members about these changes?
No. Matter of fact, it's the opposite.
Okay.
We're trying to make it a little more flexible for them.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions of Alan? Okay. All right. If there's no more discussion, let's vote on the motion. And all in favor, please raise your hands. All opposed? Okay, it's passed. Oh, we are up to item 13E, entertain a motion to approve revision to permitless alteration policy.
Resolution 0124XX, revise like for equivalent alteration policy. Whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual permanently enacted a permitless alteration policy to allow members to submit a notification form with waiver that instantaneously notifies manner alterations of the like for equivalent replacement of existing alteration components and components installed by the mutual. And whereas the United Architectural and Control Committee and Manor Alterations agree that the policy has been effective, but requires revisions to meet existing city and state requirements and to avoid confusion. Now therefore be it resolved August 13, 2024, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts revisions and amendments for the like for equivalent alteration policy as attached to the official minutes of this meeting, and resolve further resolution 012145 adopted July 13, 2021 is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move this resolution that we pass this today after discussion and then postpone it to the next available board meeting, which will be August, no less than 28 days in order to comply with Civil Code 4360. I move the resolution.
Is there a second? Director Liberatore? Discussion. Is there any discussion on this? All right. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. It is passed. There are no votes. F, entertain a motion to rescind manor alteration conformance deposit fee.
Resolution 0124XX, rescind manor alteration conformance deposit fee. Whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual recognizes the need to amend manor alterations fees and create new manor alterations fees as necessary, And whereas the mutual recognizes the need to rescind the conformance deposit fee, now therefore be it resolved, August 13, 2024, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby rescinds the conformance deposit fee as attached to the official minutes of this meeting, and resolve further that Resolution 01-1923, adopted February 12, 2019, is hereby canceled, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. I move this resolution and that we postpone it and put it over to the next board meeting, no less than 28 days, pursuant to Civil Code 4360.
Is there a second? Maybe you moved it. Is there a second? Nancy Carlson is the second. Yeah. And then the discussion. Is there any discussion, Nancy?
Yeah, I have a question. Does this conformance deposit fee in any way, shape, or form affected by the permitless alteration policy? Because it states in here, you know, if you're doing an alteration, you're putting a fee for that, but if you have permitless alteration, I mean, how do these two sync?
They are independent of one another. This conformance deposit fee actually was, we have stopped enforcing it probably 2 years ago now.
It's the pandemic.
The intent was, when it was initiated, was to motivate the members to complete their project, get the building permits finalized, and then back over to banner alterations. And then in turn, they would get their $250 conformance deposit fee back. What happened was several things. The main event was being COVID-19. All, in effect, manor alterations were shut down. Then the implementation of trying to get that building final and conformance deposit fee back to the member ended up taking more staff time than the money was worth. No. So we haven't been enforcing it for quite a while. This is the official procedure to rescind that policy.
So I can think of a particular example, which I won't cite here, but of a project that seems to be going on for quite some time. So in that example, that person wouldn't get their conformance deposit fee back because for whatever reason they're dragging it out for so long. I mean, is there a timeline of performance connected to this? Getting your money back?
Well, let me just answer that this way. Right now, we've managed to return all the conformance deposit fees with the exception of 78 units. We have 44 projects in United and 34 in Third. We've tried multiple times to contact them to get updates, and we have been unsuccessful. So this is, for us, a procedural effort to then, what do we do with that money? Because we still have just under $20,000 that should go back to the members, but they're unresponsive, and we don't know if they are in compliance with the documents or they're in violation of them.
So this, in essence, serves two purposes. One, to cover some staff time to follow up to make sure that that they are conforming and performing. And the other is they lose their carrot.
Right. So Third has already rescinded this policy. If United, if the board chooses to rescind this policy, our next step will be to go to accounting and say, okay, we have $19,500. How do we treat that? What are we to do with that?
Yes, Director Blackwell?
What would happen if that were put on the record and returned at the resale time?
That is a possibility.
Because there is an inspection at that time that would discover whether or not the alteration was finished. Wouldn't it?
Yeah, but right now, we have no way of knowing if they've complied. Every one of them has applied for a building permit. We just don't know if they waived it, decided not to do it, or did it anyway and just didn't bother to get a final. We don't know the status of those 78 remaining.
But we would at the inspection of a resale, right? So if I were to sell my manor, you would discover whether or not in the inspection they would note whether and what was done and what was not done, wouldn't they?
At that time, yes, based on the information that we have, that kind of determination could possibly be made, yes.
Then that fee could be handled one way or the other at the resale time. Is that correct? Is that possible, or is that cumbersome?
Well, part of the reason that we're here now is because our staff has tried multiple times with each of these 78 remaining open mutual consents, and we've just been unsuccessful. I think again, it will be decided by accounting how to deal with that $19,500 that remains.
All right.
I know what Maggie's
Director
talking
Carlson?
about. I think it would be cumbersome, and here's why. If I knew that I could put it off until I sold my house, it would just never get settled out. And it just really ultimately, at the end of time of escrow, it would probably put more staff time behind it to, let's check this, we double check this, let's triple check this, so on and so forth. Okay, I just think that aspect, I know precisely what you're driving at, but I don't think it's productive.
So let me further clarify that. So we have 250, let's take a particular manor. They pulled a building permit. We don't know the status of that. We still have their $250. The only way that they can get that $250 back if they present evidence of a building final and a final mutual consent. And we've been unable to do that. So at resales, they're probably not going to get that $250 back because we have no evidence that they've complied with the regulation.
I'm
All right.
satisfied. I think we could
I think
move.
we need to move on. Is there a motion? We have the main motion if there's no further
It's been
discussion.
motioned and seconded, and
Yes.
we're ready for the vote. Yeah,
Yes, so now
ready
we're up
for
to the vote. So all in favor, please say aye. Opposed? No. All right, sounds great. So we're moving right along, I don't know whether to commend Anthony and his staff or say slow down, but thank you very much. I appreciate your coming.
Thank you.
All right, we're at director's comments, and we would like to limit this to no more than 2 minutes per director. And I'd like to start with Director Willis. Do you have any comments that you'd like to make today?
Well, I would just like to remind people that Resident Advisory Group meets on this Thursday, from 4 to 5 in the Elm Room. And so if you have anything that might have fallen between the cracks, join us at that time and let us know what's going on.
Thank you. Mickey?
Yeah, well, about the town hall meeting, previous one, I like to commend Georgiana Allen putting together. It was beautifully done. Attract all the positive atmosphere with the snacks and water, so on. And particularly, the purpose of town hall meeting was to let residents invite for possibly prospective board members, and the outcome is so great. As you all know that we have 10 applicants. I mean, Ellen mentioned afterwards that a lot of people, residents came in after our presentation that they could see the work that board members are doing, and they are very, very appreciative. Therefore, there are many members who express the feeling that they could be involved and be a part of the working together for the residents. So I am very thankful for your work, and so on. And the other comment that I like to make at probably proper time, but I got like last VMS meeting, our CEO mentioned about a possible building of the sign next to Freeway 5, next to church. It's by the Laguna Woods Hills City, and it could there is some kind of anyway. It's a big billboard with some kind of fluorescence light, whatever, and try the city Laguna Hills City wants to get some of the financial income out of it, and it could influence our Gate 5 and 6 community. So directly, it might influence for so anyway, they suggest us to kind of study a little further and try not to hinder our lives, so on, so on. So I just wanted to, because our CEO mentioned about it, and it will maybe implement it. And City Hall will have a meeting at 7 o'clock tonight at the Laguna Hills City, not Laguna Woods City Hall. So suggest anybody who is interested in go and participate and see what's going on. It's just opening, very beginning process. So.
Thank you. That's very timely information. Director Blackwell?
Yes, I'd like to remind members that What's Up in the Village comes out every Friday afternoon, and it is full of information that every resident can use. It's true that you can read it anytime after it's published and just go to the website and not have it personally sent to you, but having it personally sent to you does draw your attention to it. And if you have your email to the village, you will get more information regularly about events and things like that. So I recommend that you either use your website every Friday to find out what's up in the village, or put yourself on the email list and get connected with United and the village. The Village Breeze is also online. In case coming to your door is not enough, you can have that on the Breeze. And also, our paper, The Globe, is a source of weekly information that comes out on Thursday. So we are trying to do a lot of things to communicate with you, and I do hope that you check out the website more frequently for all kinds of things. Thank you.
I pass.
I would like to make a comment on recall, because I know that there was an effort made last year about the recall and that didn't take place. And this year we have another recall effort made, and it's going to the voting, I think, for the corporate members. For me, it would be easier for me to make up my mind about this recall if there's a sign of fraud or crime. But this is not the case, and we don't have a clear criteria that tells us what would qualify for the recall, and it's up to our members to decide. There are a few procedural problems that the directors feel that would qualify for this recall. However, as one member mentioned, it should not be a political vote. Each one of us have to take it very seriously and decide on this vote what will be the best way to serve our village and to our residents. Because I feel that, and it should not be based on anybody influencing us a vote or any the emotional or any other reasons other than so I just want to make a comment that let us be very serious and listen to the presentation and decide which that will qualify to the level of recall. And I think it is our job to serve
The residents.
Yes, our responsibility. Thank you. Yes, and I want residents to have a confidence in us as well, that we will not be influenced and we will make our best decision possible for the resident and for the village. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Kale?
Yeah. I feel very uncomfortable with this recent attention on the recall, and I'm fairly new to the board, but it seems to reek of a lot of political factions rather than something that's based on any concrete reasoning. And I would second with Pearl that we give some serious thought to this, just because some members, and I could be wrong about this, but I've been told that certain boards can request this recall just because. It doesn't mean that you have to go with it. I would agree that there needs to be a concrete reason for removing people from the board, especially when they're trying to do their best. So I would seriously request that everyone, including the board members, look at this with reason and clarity and not get carried away with doing something just because of some kind of political clout.
Thank you, Director Kale. Director Liberatore?
I have nothing to offer, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Director Carlson?
Yeah, I just want to add to that. I don't disagree with anything. I think what we have to do is wait till we have the charges or whatever allegations and evidence given to us. We don't have anything to be commenting on about that right now. The next thing I want to say is thank you for the people who stepped forward to put in applications to become directors. In advance of whomever you prevail, welcome to this process. And we really do, as the boards, all boards say, we need new people and fresh ideas and fresh blood. And the last thing I want to say is I just want to thank everybody for all the cards and flowers and soup and food that was brought to me while I went through my thrilling second set of shoulder surgeries. It's been fun.
She lies.
Okay, I think Director Tuning is passing. So we are up to United Committee reports. And this is one of the most important sections here is the report of the Finance Committee. So we will have our treasurer do this.
Madam Chair, you're doing a good job.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I believe we have a slide, right? Treasurer's report first. And through the reporting period of May 31st, 2024, the total revenue for United was $22.9 million compared to expenses of $21.9 million, resulting in net revenue of $1.0 million. Next slide. In finance, we keep a close eye on the operating portion of our financial results. The operation fund without depreciation shows an operating deficit of $65,000 through the reporting period. This table shows how much of our revenue went into operations with $10.5 million coming from assessments and $714,000 coming from non-assessment revenue. This is compared to operating expenditures of $11.3 million without depreciation. Next slide. Table takes the full income statement and compares those results to budget. We can see that United ended the period better than budget by $1.3 million when combining all the funds. In slide 4, the most significant variances from budget were attributable to the following. One, employee compensation, $753,000. This favorable variance resulted primarily from the landscape and maintenance and construction departments due to open positions, and impacted areas include grounds maintenance, irrigation, electrical, plumbing, interior components, and paints. And recruitment is in progress to fill in current open positions. And grounds maintenance contracted shrub bed maintenance to outside vendors for the pruning weeding cycle as they continue to fill open positions. And next item is outside, no, not next slide. Yeah, still, the variance outside service, $567,000 favorable. This variance resulted also in maintenance and construction due to the timing of the work compared to an even budget spread over 12 months. Impacted programs include roof replacement relating to PVC, cool roofing, and composition shingle replacements programs, etc., and copper pipe remediation. Work is in progress, but began later than anticipated. Additionally, in that landscape, tree maintenance ended the period favorable due to the timing of invoices from the vendor, and work is in progress. And materials and supplies, $139,000 favorable. It's primarily gain from the M&C department due to timing of materials purchases. Impacted areas include interior components and electrical. Year to date, there has been fewer requests for kitchen and bath countertop replacements. Additionally, the smoke alarm installation program was affected due to staffing. This job is expected to remain favorable for the rest of the year. Only red bar shows fees and charges to residents. It's $446 unfavorable. It's primarily due to the majority of damage restoration, backlog cases, over and over. I've been presenting in many months. Approximately 294 out of 314 total cases were completed in 2023. The remaining cases have been completed in early 2024. So we are still in red, right? Okay, next slide. This pie chart, we show non-assessment revenues earned to date of $973,000. Revenue is organized by category, starting with our largest revenue generating category, fee and charges, followed by laundry, leasing processing fees, resale processing fee, and so forth. In slide 6, we see the same of the total expenses to date of $21.9 million, showing that our largest categories of expenses are for property tax and employee compensation, followed by outside services, insurance, and so forth. Let's go to next slide. On this pie chart, we see those same expenses excluding property tax. In slide 8, our fund balances are shown here. The contingency fund balance on May 31st was $1.2 million. Contributions collected totaled $63,000 with no expenditures to date. The reserve fund balance on May 31st was $16.3 million. Contributions and investment revenue collected totaled $5.7 million, while expenditure was $4.6 million. Slide 9, we compare this to historical fund balances for the past 5 years. On the chart, which have averaged $18.7 million. Next slide, 10, illustrates a schedule of repayment of the temporary borrowing from reserve fund. This is kind of second month chart that we are all concerned about borrowing because of our insurance cost and also our property tax. We decide to put this schedule, regular schedule, how we are paying back the temporary borrowing from our reserve fund. United continues to keep a close eyes on the repayment of borrowed monies to the reserve fund, and based on this schedule, plans to pay balance in full by October 31st, 2024. Actually, our first $2 million payment will be made by July the 31st. According to the conversation with Steve yesterday, he just paid the insurance this week, so everything is fine. And $1 million borrowing that we moved last time, I think we will have left over because our insurance cost is less than $5 million. So we have still room for there, and we are watching for it. But July 31st, first $2 million will be returned as scheduled. And by October 31st, whole $7.5 million will be returned. So I believe we are doing fine in that area. Okay. Next slide, 11. We have a table here to show resale history from 2024 to 2024. No, 22 through 2024. Through May 31st this year, United resale totaled 152 units, which is 16 resales higher than the prior year for the same time period. And the average year-to-date resale price for United Mutual Mana was $382,000, which is about $47,000 more than the prior for the same time period. If we continue to go with the Finance Committee report, we are meeting every other month, the last Tuesday of the month, 1:30 p.m. in here, and we have not met in June. We are meeting in July next month. And as you know, as our CEO mentioned today, we are still in the budget process, and next Wednesday is our version 2 budget meeting. So it's all board meeting, so everyone was supposed to come. And last Finance Committee meeting, we look at all the MNC budget, so on. So, and in our closed meeting, also small meeting, that we kind of adjusted for the new assessment fees, so on. So I think by Wednesday, that will be ready, and we will vote for it and move on to the final, toward the final version of it. Finance Committee agenda item 15A3. We have a monthly resale report. I already compare from the last year, but the thing is that June resale is added here. And if you look at that chart, total up to this June month, our resale units are 172, but last year 170. Well, June resale price was a little down. Last year it was 34, but this year only 20. But still, the overall total resale is still 1.2% higher, 2 units more than last year. The total sale volume in dollar amount is also higher. Total is $11,089,000, which is 14.5% increase compared to from the last year's sales. And again, what is it? The average resale price, average sale price is also increased by 14.3%. So far, so good. And the opposite side of the page, page 2 of 2, shows the leasing report again. So as you see, the green bar down there is the last year of the leasing units, but top of it, red bar, red curve is the leasing units for this year. So 863 units this year has been leased compared to the last year 778 units. So 13.6% is leased. According to our regulation, we can lease up to 25%, I was told. So it's on the increase, which is great. Other than that, I do not have any further report. Is there any comment, any question? Thank you. Thank you.
Presentation. That was very helpful, very thorough. Let's move on now to the report of the Architectural Controls and Standards Committee, and that's Director Liberatore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you are probably aware, we're doing a lot. Alan Grinshaw and his people are doing a lot, and so I invite everybody that's interested in that to come to our next meeting, which is going to be on June 20th.
July 18th.
I'm sorry, July 18th at 9:30 a.m. That's my report.
All right, Director Carlson, you're up.
Yes, on the member hearings, of course, the function of that is essentially evaluating what portion of obligations United is responsible for financially versus what a resident may be financially responsible for. A determination is made in those hearings. For people who are new to understanding what member hearings are about, we usually meet every couple weeks. We have a meeting this Thursday. They are long meetings. They're 9 to 5. It's like a full-time job, case after case. Last hearings, I think we collected about $49,000. So they're very, and I think they range somewhere between $25,000 and $50,000 is what we wind up recovering as a reimbursement to the mutual. Residents should understand if something happens, the mutual will pay, United actually pays the vendors, so on and so forth. So these hearings technically are kind of balancing the checkbook on who's responsible for what. That's it.
Okay, Director Blackwell.
Excuse me, they're not open to the public.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, the Governing Documents Committee met in June.
July 18th.
And we passed the passive home business policy, which you voted on today. And we passed the membership election and voting policy. There aren't any changes to it this time. In answer to some issues, our attorney has written a paper on signs and flags. You can have a sign or a flag on your own area. You may not have a sign or a flag of any kind for any election in the common area. We suggest that if you want a sign or flag, that you put it on your exclusive use common area, and that it not be any bigger than, I guess it's 9 square feet or something like that. We can put that limit on it. But just be aware that we are a free speech society, especially here in California. And so we have to allow all kinds of political signs outside and inside your unit. But don't put it on your carport, don't put it on any common area. And some people do it to annoy your neighbors, and the other ones think they will persuade their neighbors, although I don't know anybody that passes a sign and says, oh, I'm going to change my vote. But hey, we all like to do it anyway. So just be conscious of what you're doing. Thank you.
We meet
We meet again Thursday, July 18th at 1:30, and you're welcome to come. Thank you.
Now we're up to the report of the Landscape Committee, and I'd like to thank Kurt Weeman and his staff. They're working very hard on trying to figure out how to comply with AB 1572. We'll have more information next month. Okay, let's see here. Maintenance and Construction, Director Lee.
Well, we did not have the meeting since April 24th. Next meeting will be on July 29th at 1:30.
Thank you. Report of the United Resident Advisory Committee, Director Liberatore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It looks like Director Willis has already given us an update on that. Welcome everybody. It's in the Elm Room this Thursday at 4 p.m. and everybody's welcome. It's an open meeting, so come.
All right.
Thank you.
And you also have the next one, the report of the United Revenue Ad Hoc Committee. Do you want to talk about that?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, the ad hoc committee is an attempt on our part to develop a wealth of information to help the board, the full board, to find sources, nonprofit sources of revenue. We've had our second meeting, but this week we're supposed to have, well, next week we're supposed to have a meeting on the 18th, but it conflicts with two other meetings. So I'm waiting for staff to give us a new meeting time. And it's an open meeting, not closed, and we're searching for non-revenue sources of income to take the pressure off these monthly assessments. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Are you still looking for a couple of advisors that would have expertise in this area?
Yeah, our mandate calls for 3 advisors. We only have 1 right now. We have 2 spots open, and we're interested in people who have abilities with research, and that's what we have to do. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We have completed item 16, which is the GRF committee highlights that was approved under the consent calendar. So we are pushing toward the end here. 17, future agenda items. All matters listed under future agenda items are resolutions on 28-day public review or items for future board meetings. No action will be taken by the board on these agenda items at this meeting. The board will take action on these items at a future board meeting, and they are approve the passive business policy and application, revision to standard 24, skylight installations, revision to standard 43, bathroom splits, revision to permitless alteration policy, rescind manner alteration, conformance to deposit fee, and revenue generating options. So if residents have comments on this and would like to respond, we certainly want to hear from you. And now we are at the time to recess. If there are no further objections, we will recess to the 3rd floor. Thank you. 2nd floor. Thank you.
Madam Chair, what time would you like to reconvene at?
I don't know what time it is. My time.
It's 12. It's roughly 12 o'clock. Do you want to do like 12:15, 12:30?
Yes, that'd be fine. Would 12:20 work for everybody? Is that enough time? Or 12:30? Do you want 12:30? Yeah. The easier, the faster we come back, the faster we get through the agenda. But 12:30? All right. We'll do 12:30. Thank you. Thank you. You too. Maggie, thank you. I spent all last night.